Alright, today I will be doing a roughly 7,300 mile update of my 2017 Duramax. I want to start out by saying this truck, powertrain wise, drivetrain wise, it's an awesome truck. Power and torque it has just pulls itself right down the road, and even with something hooked behind you, really does quite well, and I'm very pleased with the performance. So I'll just go over some of the things that I've come to like, as well as some of the things I dislike. Starting in the front here, one thing that I knew was going to be an issue was this air dam on the bottom. It actually has a little rip right there. Yeah, I think what I'm going to do, hopefully pretty soon, take that off. And then a few different companies make a trim piece that goes in between the tow hooks there, filling that blank spot. I think I'm probably going to do that for now. Maybe eventually get an off-road bumper from Ranch Hand or something like that. And I would take care of the front end of the truck. And then really the biggest complaint I have with this thing is the paint quality is not very good. It's really all I can say about it. It's just too thin, and it has a bunch of fisheye in it that scratches easily. So that if I could pick on one thing, I would say that they really need to improve the paint quality on these trucks. Actually, I'm gonna have this repaired, luckily under warranty, right there, just from a little over 3 months of use. You can see it's already wearing on top of the rocker panel. I have a few scratches there, but some touch-up paint probably take care of that. Of course, being it's a black truck, it's going to show every little imperfection, so you're just going to have to live with that. But go over here to the back, and I really like how they have your 7-pin, your 4-pin electrical right there. I think that's a better spot than some of the older trucks where they sat right next to the hitch. It just keeps it out of the dirt and has less risk of damage. You can see I have a pinhole hitch on it now. I have towed a fair amount with this truck compared to a lot of owners. I know a lot of people just buy these and drive them around like cars, but that's not the case. And the bed, of course, you can just see I have a few scratches just from use. Can't see under here because I have this material for retaining walls. You can see there, it's has the puck system for the gooseneck. I am yet to hook a gooseneck to this truck. I'm hoping to purchase one pretty soon. So I'm glad that I got a truck that has that system already in place, and I don't have to bother with having holes drilled in my bed and all that. So hopefully that system will work out pretty well. I have my 100-gallon fuel tank back here. I ended up switching around how I had the fill and the pump, just because this way the fill on the same side as the truck fill, I can just go right up, put the nozzle in for the truck's tank, and when I'm done I can put it in here. My hose, if I did want to fill the truck up with this tank, then I can just run it over. It's no big deal. This truck, of course, being diesel, being a modern diesel, it is best to put good quality fuel in there. So I do like using my tank, because then I'm running it through a filter before it even goes into my truck. And that's something that just goes through any modern diesel. You got to make sure that you put clean fuel in it. back seat has a lot of different tools in it right now, and that's 90% of the time how it's used. Occasionally someone will ride back here, but right now I'm gonna go to the job site shortly. It's just gonna have a bunch of tools. I also like these running boards. First I thought they just get in the way, but I've actually come to like them for you have to get on something here in the bed. You can just step right there, even usually get at it. Also on the other side, it hides your def tank real well. That's another thing too. I've had no issues with the def tank scraping or getting punctured or anything like that. You can see it right there. I figure you know, if your front axle is gonna clear it, and the def tank should clear it too. We'll jump inside here. As you can see, I'm at just about 7,300 miles. I love the exhaust brake on this thing. With a trailer behind you or even empty, it just saves all the wear on your brakes. And I usually keep that on most of the time. Wish there was a way you could just keep it on without having to turn the switch on every time you start the truck. And of course, eventually when they come out with the tunes for this L5P Duramax, then maybe you'll be able to do something like that. And of course, you got your USBs. And then something that I really like is your electrical outlet here. I often will plug in a charger for a cordless drill, or you want to take a long trip, you want to plug in a laptop, anything like that, you can do it. Of course, you're limited as to what you can run off of it, but you know, for just a charger or you know, an electronic device like a laptop, phone, anything like that, it'll work. Yeah, the infotainment system, I mentioned how this all works in my previous review when I first had the truck. It's had a few glitches, but overall it's been pretty good. I like how you can use the steering wheel controls. That way you're not just fiddling around with that, and of course then you're distracted and you have the potential to be in an accident because you're not paying attention. Over here, I like how they integrate the trailer brake controller. They put it in a nice spot. I don't like how they were down here. Most of the aftermarket ones are mount there. I just don't like that location. I think this was a pretty good solution. Power folding mirrors. That's something you know, I wouldn't really need now that I've had it. It's nice in case you know, need to fit it in a garage, or if you're parking in a tight spot and someone doesn't come along and bump into your mirror. So really, the interior overall, I think it's laid out pretty well. I don't have a whole lot of complaints with the interior. I am still glad that I went with the center console, not the bench seat. Don't think I ever want to go back to a bench seat again. And I love storage in here. You can see I have just a bunch of folders in here, miscellaneous stuff. It does have these rails, so if you want to get a file folder with the tabs on it, you could hang those, and I'll probably do that at some point. But again, the interior of this truck, seems pretty well put together. So then, dig my keys out here. Start the truck. I do wish the truck was a little bit louder sometimes. Sometimes I just feel like it's too quiet. But then again, you go running all this loud equipment all day. It's refreshing just to get into a quiet truck. We'll see here. Get into fuel economy. See, last 25 miles I was doing highway driving, not going terribly fast. So I was getting 20.2. Last 50 miles it's mixed. Highway, country back roads, 19. Oops. Last 400 miles I've been averaging 16.3, and that's a bit of every type of driving. I don't live in a city, so I don't really get city driving, so to speak, but I do drive in town, where the speed limits are only 25, 30 miles an hour. That's where your fuel economy really just tanks. I've even seen as low as 10, 11 miles to the gallon, but you get on the highway, you go 75 miles an hour, and you'll probably get around 18. If you were to find just a back road where you didn't have stop signs, just a 55 mile an hour speed limit, you'd probably get over 20. And of course, with a trailer hooked behind you, it really just depends on the weight of the trailer and what you're hauling as far as aerodynamics go. I know empty going down the highway, just had it's probably a 20-foot trailer or something like that, deck over. I was getting still about 17, so it didn't really impact my fuel economy that much. But then when I loaded it, then I was only saying, 13 or 14, depending on what type of load I had. And then of course, hauling different pieces of equipment, might weigh 11, 12,000 pounds. Then I was down to 13. I haven't really seen any lower than 13 if I'm not in town with a load behind me. So I think the fuel economy is acceptable on this. It's not excellent, but it's certainly not terrible either. From what I hear, it's a lot better than the Fords get, but it's not as good as a Ram truck with the Cummins would get. But of course, I think this one's a little more quick on its feet. So, you have to give up some fuel economy if you want performance. Really, overall, I would say I'm happy with this truck. There's one thing they could improve, it would definitely be better paint quality. But other than that, I think I'll probably keep this truck for a while. At least this body style, I might go get a long bed or something like that in the future. But I think I made a pretty good choice, given I could have either gone with GM, Ford, or Ram. So that's my thoughts on the new truck. Have a good day.